Good day everybody, this is Frank from Reaper Air Defense. So before we start off this vid, I'm not angry, nor am I mad. I'm just here to explain how this works, since there's one individual that doesn't get the concept. So what I've actually done with this hammer spring, so if you note the hammer spring there, it's got a natural angle, let's say for argument's sake 90 degrees. So when you install the original hammer spring into the hammer module, it pre-tensions the spring to about, let's say, 85 degrees for argument's sake. So it decreases it. By decreasing it, it's pre-tensioning and storing energy within the coils. That's how a torsion spring works. So I thought long and hard about this. So instead of me going off the rift and start manufacturing springs, I thought to myself, well, I would first test this concept. Hence why I came up with this. So this is what I ended up doing. I'll give you the measurements shortly. So all what this does is, so this is my hammer spring, right? My original one. So after drilling the hole and backing out my countersink screw, I've pre-tensioned my hammer spring significantly, and thus storing more energy than the unmodified state. And when you eventually cock your hammer, where the real tensioning begins or start, you will be taking, let's say, 90 degrees to 85 degrees and further decreasing the angular rate by decrease it to, let's say, 50 degrees. But I know it's less. I haven't checked or measured all of these angles, but this is how this concept works. It's taking the natural angle, and all that my countersink screw end up doing is changing the pre-tensioning values and thus storing more energy in the coils, and that's how I get a harder hammer strike. For the last time, the ideal thing to do would be to manufacture a new torsion spring with maybe half a coil more or one whole coil more, and slightly increasing the wire thickness in incremental steps, and then we can evaluate what is the maximum spring rate the hammer can take, or the launcher can take, before it impacts the magazine spring. And that's all I did with this modification. I hope this clears up what I was trying to do here. And I thought this is cheap and nasty, and yes, a lot of people will say, hey, I don't like it, I don't like drilling and tapping. Well, this is what I did just to test the concept. And yes, if you don't want to do this and would rather wait until I've actually had a time to come up with the new spring rates and then verify it by myself, but this is the easiest way to get a hammer, to get a harder hammer strike, softer magazine spring, and that's how you get easy gains. And you see this aluminium ball? Do you see how tight it is in the barrel? It's not too tight, but it's sealing off really well. And you can do all of these modifications, but remember, if your projectile is not the precise fit for your barrel, all of this will be in vain. You will still get gas loss around the projectile, which will affect your muzzle energy. So I hope we understand now how this torsion spring works. And 1 second, I said I'll give you some measurements. So my hole sits in the middle of the groove. Then from this edge to the center of the hole is about 2.5 to 3 mils. It doesn't have to be damn accurate, but these are my measurements. And I drilled 2.5 and I tapped it M3, which is a metric size. I've used a normal panhead countersink screw made for a flat screwdriver, and I've backed it out about flush to these edges here. And when using the correct ammo, I get a consistent over 10 joules, and now and again I get a high of 17 joules. The plan was always to delve a little bit deeper, getting a proper hammer spring manufactured, maybe a different hammer, maybe a longer barrel where I can screw on extension. There's a lot of stuff I still want to do, but I only got so much time. But yeah, I hope we've cleared up now how this works.